Someone says, what's the future? Vaughn Coleman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Well, guys, we're here, and it's 800 subscribers, 800 of you guys. Thank you so much. It really means a lot, and we are at 64 episodes. Look at that. We got 10 people in the chat. This is an exciting episode. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. So before we get started, I always like to start off with my own book, and today is no different. Do I have bad echo? Okay, it is me. All right, hold on. Is it still bad? All right, well, I'm going to continue, and then let me know in the chat if it's a persisting problem. I always want to make sure that everyone's, taken care of. But I would like to show my own campaign, Phenomenova. So set 20 years after World War III, Phenomenova follows the idealistic son of a World War III veteran who is struck by lightning while holding a mysterious crystal in his hands. And so he sets out, inspired by the brave heroes that came before him, to become a hero, donning a makeshift costume, but he finds himself in way over his head when he attempts to fight a villain that is totally out of his league. So if you guys are interested in that premise, then absolutely make sure you check it out. You're not going to want to miss out on this. And it is 64 pages. We have 145 backers. We're getting closer and closer to 10K. So make sure you join that. Just go ahead and click the link. And I just put it in the chat, and you should be able to get it. Thank you guys so much. And without further ado, you know about me, but let's bring in our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John's Longbox. How you doing, John?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me, Vaughn. And congratulations on your launch, man. I'm rooting for you. You're doing so good.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm rooting for you too. But let's go ahead and I realize I'm not good enough with saying hi to everyone in chat. Crystal, how you doing, Crystal?
Crystal is on my channel. It's good to see you, Crystal. She gives good writing advice.
She's great. She's great. Yeah, she's a good friend of mine.
Oh wow, you know each other.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We got the Comic Relief Crusader. How you doing, man?
How you doing?
What Geeks Do Network. Hey guys, back both your books and excited for the show. Hail chat. Hey, thank you so much.
He also did the musical intro that I use on my channel. I
did he?
Love it. Oh my god, it's great. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
Everybody's so helpful in Comicsgate. It's so great. I'm loving it.
We got Kirby. Kirby said, "Yeah, John, we got a lot of fans here today."
Hey, Kirby. Yeah, I'm recognizing the names. Thank you, guys.
And then no echo. Okay,
Jason, you backed. I thought I saw you backed. Right? Garfield's Bizarre Adventures. Hey, you doing?
What's going on? I always wonder, like sometimes, because I'm like, I see names I don't recognize. I'm trying to figure out who.
Right? Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know about you, but every time somebody backs, I look at their name. I'm like, yes, it's a coworker. Oh yeah, it's a family member. Oh, I know that guy. He's been subbing to my channel for a long time.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's exciting.
It is.
We got Vaughn. Have you seen the South Park episode where Gene Hackman is called Hackman? Now you shall be known as Coleman. I have seen that. That's the one where that's the one where. It's the Bloods versus the Crips episode, right? Yeah, I've seen that. Hey, John and Vaughn. What's up, Marcus? I was hanging out with him.
Marcus is a big supporter for my channel. Marcus is awesome.
Yeah, we were hanging out with him and
Oh, that's right. You got to meet him.
Yeah. Master Hobo, greetings from the homeless shelter. Also cool to see two dudes whose books I back recently on stream together. Thank you so much.
Hobo. Thank you.
Thank you for the congratulations. Yeah, I got to get better at paying attention to my chat, but thank you guys. Thank you for stopping by, everyone. And John, especially to you, congrats. Let's go ahead and take a look at your campaign.
Thank you.
Kyle, thank you so much for wishing us for giving us the congratulations. He's always shouting me out. Kyle's great. He's a good
Kyle's
dude.
better at promoting me than I am. Thank you, Kyle.
He is fantastic.
I got to say, Kyle and Shadowpunk, and Shadowpunk also has a great comic.
Yeah.
Can I respond to something somebody said in the chat?
Of course.
The Comic Relief Crusader was asking who's good and who's bad in Comicsgate and whatever. And I responded, don't worry about what's good and what's bad. Just worry about the comics. Focus on the comics. Forget about the people. Forget about the egos. And you can't go wrong, because it's about comics. It's nice that me and Vaughn are hanging out here, but we wouldn't be hanging out here if it wasn't for comics. It's about
okay. It's all about comics. Exactly. No, I came here. Yeah, you got to focus on the art form. And I would say if you want to find out to see who's talking most about comics is often a good thing. And the medium they love, in the art form. That's generally the best way to go about things. But I fixed. So there we go. Keep the drama inside the comics damn straight. Damn.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. Yeah, and I gotta say I'm weak. I like good gossip too, but it's draining.
Oh, ain't that the truth? But it's not. We should be. The only thing we should be draining is our wallets for this book. Right?
Well, I tried not to drain anybody's wallet.
All right, drain a little
bit. My comic is as inexpensive as possible. I was told not to say cheap. I keep my comic as inexpensive, so it's $10 for a comic.
That is a great deal, and the art is good.
Fair. So
for an indie publisher, especially, I've run numbers. This is how many pages?
30 pages.
That's a good deal. That is a very good deal.
I think it's a great deal. A couple of people got mad at me that I was doing it so cheap. Maybe I never claimed to be the best businessman in the world, but I'm good with comics. So help me out then.
Yeah,
show them wrong.
Yeah, but, exactly. If he's stupid, then scalp him with this price.
But I launched the campaign Friday night on Michael Bancroft's channel. He was awesome. He was really, really cool about it. And it was just, we reached $1,000 like within an hour. It was awesome.
Wow.
So let's talk about it. I got 87 backers. I think I sold like 200 or so comics. And I was reading Thomas Valiant by RJ of the Fourth Age. And I was looking at the art and I'm like, this is classic comic book art. So I asked RJ if I could contact his writer, his artist. He said, sure, go ahead. Renzo needs some work. And we just hit it off. I love Renzo. If I'm not working with Renzo, I'm not making this comic anymore. He is, first off, I wish he lived close to me. I love talking to him. I love hanging out with him,
Yeah.
And I want to fly him to New York and autograph comics if
man,
we go
I
higher.
know that.
So I came up with this character, the patriarch, because I got real tired of dads being like, made the goofy character in sitcoms and comic books and, American culture. I was about to say, I don't know about your dad. I just realized your dad was killed. So sorry about that. But
okay.
My dad was a good guy. My dad was a hardworking guy. He was a blue collar guy. So I made a blue collar guy who got powers. I'm not talking the origin doesn't happen in this issue. The origin will happen in issue 3. I just wanted to hit the ground running. He's already been a superhero for 20 years. It's a complete story. And then there's an 8-page backup drawn by Ron Mosicki, who also does Nano 13, of the origin of a villain. And I don't think I'm spoiling it by saying the mayor of Science City is a villain. I mean, it's a politician. He's a villain already.
Yeah, right.
So, yes. So it's 2 complete stories, a main story, a backup story. And the backup was going to be a stretch goal, but I got so excited. And then I knew Ron was doing his own book. So I was like, let's do it now. Let's just do it now. So you guys already got a stretch goal from right out of the gate.
I did that too with the mini print. I was like, nah, let's just throw that in. And then you want to get the next one.
At 3,000, I'm going to unlock trading cards. So
nice.
The first trading card is obviously going to be the Patriarch. And I know Vaughn already knows this, but I don't know what people in the chat know. I'm a big role player. I love role-playing games. And I mostly play, well, not mostly, almost exclusively play a game called Villains and Vigilantes. It's made by Fantasy Games Unlimited. It came out in the 80s, and the game is it's a little long in the tooth, by modern role playing stuff, but I love it, and I heavily house rule the game. And me and my friends have been playing and playing and playing. So I wanted to put the Villains Vigilante stats somewhere in this. So I'm like, you know what? A card, you flip it over, it's gonna have their role playing stats. So that's, I got the art done, but I didn't do the stats yet because I didn't want to pay to have that done if the comic didn't do well.
Didn't do well, yeah.
Because I spent so much just making this comic. But so it looks like any minute now I'll be able to make the first card. And there's a card for Boss Moxie, the minor villain, his henchwomen, and then the major villain. So there'll be 6 cards if we make it up to $8,000. So I'm excited. It's gonna have the stats. I got the blessing from the guy who makes Villains Vigilantes, and then he said, if you get a couple of issues down, we'll make a Villains and Vigilante resource book. So I'll put all my characters, villains. You know what I mean? And he's cross promoting it. He said he'd put it up on his website. I got to check to see if he followed through. And Scott Bizarre, the owner, agreed he'll come on my channel. We're just working on a day to talk about it. So I love roleplay, and I joke around, but it's the truth. If let's dream. If we make it to $100,000, I'm flying. Vaughn's coming. Everybody, Reni's coming. Renzo's coming. Brian Bow's coming. We're all gonna make up our characters so you could be Galvanite, and we'll play a role playing session, and we'll record it. My wife will make a big pot of chili. Sleeping bags, we'll crash in the house, beer and Funyuns, because that's a role-playing staple, and we'll have a blast. Because it's all about fun, it's all about comics. Jason Raddick says, I have a friend who did some artwork for Villain Vigilante. Oh, Jeff Jarka. Jeff Jarka actually he did children's books, and he came to New York, and we met him. My wife and I met him, and we toured Manhattan together, and I showed him where the Strand bookstore was, and he went and he secretly autographed some of his books and put them back on the shelf. He was a cool guy. Tell him I haven't heard from him since. That he was great. We had a great time. We went to Five Guys Burgers and Fries. We had a great time.
I love Five Guys.
Tell him he's a good guy, man. It's funny. It's a small world, Jason.
I had never heard of.
Can I come too? Sure. What characters you got? Listen, if I get $100,000, I'm freaking open the door. My wife's like, I hope your comic book does 99,000 because she's an introvert. She doesn't want people to
I had let's see, 9. So for this one, if you check this, so I had the first time I heard of Villains and Vigilantes. It's funny you say that. Is apparently they did something called Living Legends, and that's why
Living Legends was it's a sad story. The owner and the creators of the game that had a legal fight. I stay out of the drama. So they did a 2.0 version, but they called it Living Legends. And I wanted to like it, but it was so different than the Villains and Vigilantes that I know that game by heart, so, God bless you. Good for you. If you like it, I got no problems with that. But I got I'm going to sound like Mitt Romney. I got binders full of superheroes, I could stack them up. I used to joke that said nobody made up more superheroes than I did because I have I'm not even joking. I must have sheets of 2,000 NPCs, So I got a lot of characters to put in Villain Vigilant in heroic tales.
Oh, I know that. And then struggling to keep issue 1 down it is always tough. I have that too. But I had to change the name for that reason.
That's right. You originally was called Living Legends was your book. Yeah. Well, it's good. Phenomenova is a great title.
I agree. It took some growing, but I love it. I really like it. And but before we get into this book, I always like to ask. So, when did you first get into comics?
When did I first get to comics?
Yeah, and what
before
got
you
into
were born.
Comics?
I tell people in 1974. So I was born in 68. So what was I? 6 years old. I have 2 older brothers. I have 2 older sisters. I'm one of 7 kids. So there was always comics in my house. There was Archie's. There was Mad Magazine. Whatever. So there was always comics in my house. So I can't not remember comics being in my house. But 74 is when I started buying comics. The first comic I ever bought with my own money was Fantastic Four 186. It was the Fantastic Four. They fought the Molecule Man and Claw, and Reed Richards became the Molecule Man. Oh man! And it was a cliffhanger. And back then there was no comic books. So it took me years to to get the second issue. Oh, and I love the second comic I bought. I think was Avengers 165. It's still my favorite single issue of all time. My friend Mike and I like acted out that comic, and I just bought things. And then, but here's the funny thing: I couldn't read. I wasn't interested in reading. And in third grade, I was in the bottom reading group. I remember, I was sharing a book with Jordan. I almost said his last name. I was sharing a book with Jordan, who couldn't pull his pants up after going to the bathroom, and so I'm like, do I have problems too? Like, this is who I'm sharing books with. And then my friends got into comics and they were talking about them and they were so I started to realize that like reading isn't just something you do in school. Reading is like
it's like an actual thing you can enjoy.
Like, Vaughn, when you're in third grade, do you go home and just do math problems with your buddies? You know what I mean? So,
oh God, no.
Yeah, right. So now I'm hanging out with my friends and we're reading comics, and like I didn't want to admit that I couldn't. So I didn't force myself to read, because forcing sounds like it was unpleasant, but I just wanted to read. By the end of the year, I was sharing a book with Mary Ann, the girl who would write the people's names on the board when teacher went to the bathroom, and she's like, Vaughn's talking. You know what I mean? She was the little teacher's pet. So comics taught me to read, and I've been a comic book fan ever since. To the point when I was in fifth grade, they did a study on me because I was reading Le Morte d'Arthur, and I was writing notes, and they were like, how do you know all, but I was like, because reading is fun, And I remember saying to my teacher, am I in trouble for reading this book? And it really discouraged me. I put the book back and I didn't touch that book ever since, because they made me think that I was doing something wrong at the time they were studying me. At the time I thought I was in trouble because I was going down to the office to explain my notes and everything about reading.
No, wow.
Somebody said I looked young. You're my favorite person in the world, Master Hobo.
Mr. Hobo is great. What kind of comic book cover styles do you prefer? Heroes facing the audience, heroes doing battle with the villains, or other?
Wow, I never got that question before.
Neither have I.
A good variety, a good variety. Heroes. I don't like to see the back of the hero. You know what I mean? Like, you want to see the hero's face. So I'm trying to think, are there any comics where there's, I remember one, I think it was Batman, and you see Batman's back, and then you see like a crowd of villains. That worked. But for the most part, I think you need to see the hero's face. You kind of want to see the hero in a little bit of danger, a little bit of struggle. Sometimes it's kind of cool to just see the hero like brushing his hands in with a pile of bodies. Like, I know there's a Power Girl cover like this I love. The criticism I got was people like, I don't like the cell phones. And I'm like, I think it works because it's set in today. It would be weird if people didn't have cell phones, but we got the patriarch over here fighting this robotic insect.
Yeah, I like the dressing too. I like the colors. I think the colors pop. He has a really good looking, really good classic superhero look.
Well, that's what I was going for. This is a love letter to old Blue Sky superhero comics. I'm trying to return to what I thought was, I'm talking about like the late 80s, early 90s, when you got a full story. So this is a full story, no cliffhangers. If I don't, no, nothing against other people, but I feel like asking you to wait another year for the second part of it is not fair, especially at the prices. So for $10, you're going to get a complete story. And every one of my comics is going to be a complete story. If I feel the story is too big, I'll add more pages. I mean, I'll ask for more money or something like that, but which I think is fair. But I'm going to try to keep every issue self-contained. If I get the machine rolling and I could come out more often, maybe then I'll do a two-parter or something like that. But as of right now, I'm new. You know what I mean? This is my first comic. So I want to do it, say I get hit by a car, you got a complete story for your money, and that's the way Marvel Comics were. You got a complete story, but then each issue builds on it. So you'll get more and more information about my universe, about the heroes. And I was originally, my concept was heroic tales. Note that it doesn't say the patriarch. So it was going to be, every issue was going to be a different superhero. The one that and I when I was telling people that, some people like, oh man, I like the patriarch. You've been selling the patriarch to me for a year, and now you're going to bait and switch. And then how long till the patriarch comes back? It could be 3 years. And I'm like, they're absolutely right. So this is what I'm going to do. Issue 2 is going to be a flip book. You pick it up. It's going to say issue 2, Heroic Tales, featuring the Patriarch. And that story is mostly finished writing. And Rengo's going to get the script soon, and he's going to start. So we're already starting issue 2. And then you flip the book over, and it's going to have another character. And it's going to have her origin. And then going forward, we're always going to have the Patriarch. And then we're always going to have, 2. So whatever you want. You want to bag it so it says Patriarch. You want to bag it so that it says, the other character.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be a flip book. So I could put, and I already have like variant artists lined up for that. Because the next character is a female, the origin of a female superhero. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
That's really cool. So this is a great project to get behind. I'm excited. I like the cover. I like the self ones. I do think add something. There's so much going on in this cover, even down to the American flags. It's a nice touch.
Yeah.
I love this. I like this one too. Pat Broderick. That's a big deal.
Pat Broderick was. I'm so happy to have Pat Broderick to do this because back in 1974, one of the first comics I ever bought was Marvel Spotlight #1, and it was a Captain Marvel comic. Captain Marvel's on the cover, and it was drawn by Pat Broderick. And it was Captain Marvel and Drax flying through space, fighting like all of their villains, and I didn't know what was going on, but I didn't care. It was just glorious looking. So he was the first comic book artist that I became a fanboy of. So I was like, my first comic has got to have my first love superhero artist, so Pat Broderick. And look at that. He knocked it out of the park.
That is great. Yeah. I mean, I met Pat once. I've been meaning to get Bronze Star. He said that he thinks it's the best work of his career. I haven't read it yet.
Every time anybody mentions Bronze Star, I whip out my copy of Bronze Star.
I haven't gotten it yet. It came out at a time when there were so many other things, but I intend on getting it.
Guys, if I didn't back your book, just assume it's because I missed it, not because I didn't like it. There's so many good things.
There's so many right now.
And somebody said a Firestorm artist. Yes, Pat Broderick. He did the Captain Marvel, Marvel, and then he went on to I think Firestorm, and then he went on to Captain Atom. And oh my God, like he did Lords of the Ultra Realm, like a little comic. It was like a borderline sci-fi fantasy. Oh, I loved it. And it's funny when I mentioned that to him, he was like, "Oh wow, you remember that?" What my wife is handing me. Oh wow. A bowl of food.
Nice. That's great. Yeah. That's so cool. I mean, I like these covers. I like that it's similar, but it's different enough. He's more, scared here. I like this too.
I love that is go back to that. I love that. That's the back cover.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have my back cover yet.
Because the name of the story is called Daddy's Home. And he's the superhero. He starts out and he's just trying to get home, and then hijinks ensue. He's a superhero. You know what I mean? He's flying around. One of his powers is he has senses, and every once in a while he'll just let loose of his sense. It's not supervision or laser vision or anything like that. It's more like a clairaudience. But he releases all 5 of his senses. So when he does it, he's literally deaf, dumb, and blind. So he'll go up in the air, because he's defenseless, and he'll let go of his senses, and then he just roams around at the speed of thought. And then I got to take care of this. I'm a superhero. At that particular day, there was a lot of stuff, and then he finally gets home. Back cover. This is what he's doing it all for, his family.
So this is part of the story.
Yeah, this is the the last page.
That's so cool.
That's the wife down there in the pink. These are all of his children on the farm. He's a father of 7 kids, and he's a devoted husband, loving father, superhero. I just like I said, I think dads have been getting pooped on in popular culture these days. So
you're not alone in feeling that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy about this. And I threw some Easter eggs. You can see that the wife has some scars. That'll be brought up in issue I think 4.
Oh, all right. That's his wife?
Yeah, that's the wife down there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
They live up on a farm. They homestead. She homeschools. The the kids all work out and do school and then go out on the farm. It's kind of, now that I live in New York, this is kind of like something that I would love to do. Go out and live on a farm.
Yeah,
I lived out in Albuquerque for years, and I dated a girl who had a ranch, and it was just fun to go out on the farm. I loved it. Then I come back to New York, live in Queens, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, I want to spend more time, in some of those other states. I like the East Coast, but it's like I've been here my whole life. I'd love to go down south.
Where do you live?
New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Come on over.
Yeah.
Sir Jean-Luc Connery says, "Is this live?"
Yeah, it is.
This campaign is live. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and Alex, who's backer number 1, put the link.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
he's always up there. It's great. He's a routine backer. This of course is great. So what are his powers?
That's just it. I kind of don't want to tell you. But
yeah.
He dresses like Superman, and that's part of his thing. But he's not as powerful as he projects.
Gotcha. That's cool.
He's a dad. So there is a Superman guy in my world. His name is Captain Atlas. But Captain Atlas is old. Like, he's not Superman. He's not like immortal. He's older. So
Gotcha.
he took the mantle of the Cape guy. The Cape guy is always super powerful. Always, and he's a dad. So he's got it under control. But I don't want to tell you what his powers are.
All right. Keep it a secret, then.
I will tell you he's not super strong and he's not invulnerable.
Okay.
But I give clues. I even give clues here. If you scroll down to the artwork, you could see some of his power. I already told you, like, the senses. He could fly, obviously. You'll know all of his powers if the stretch goal comes, because I'm gonna literally write down his V&V powers on the back of the card. But scroll down, you'll see some hints about his powers. See right there, his senses are activating.
Yeah,
going off the cliff.
See, I love this artwork. How much of it is done?
Go back up. You see where it says gas, and then he fixes the car.
Yeah,
Superman can't do that.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's cool that you're keeping it a secret. I noticed no underwear on the outside though. Was that a?
Yeah. I love the red underwear on Superman. I love the blue underwear on Batman, but I didn't put it in.
Gotcha.
I didn't put it in.
Did you request anything or no?
His superpower is the best dad joke at the time. That it's funny because I was thinking of doing. Do you guys remember Welcome Back, Carter, where Carter tells a joke at the end of every episode? I was thinking about doing something like that, a dad joke, but it's hard to write comedy. So I was thinking of, like, maybe one of his kids will tell jokes.
Yeah, I think that's great, and Rars really gave this girl a booty. Really did.
Yeah. It's funny because when I wrote him the notes, I said, this is Boss Moxie. He's the bank robber. Richard C. Meyer was saying, like, whatever happened to a bank robbery in comic books anymore? So I said, I'm going to start my comic with a bank robbery.
I was going to have that before it was a reactor heist. It was a bank robbery. Then everyone told me that was overdone.
Oh, well, I'd overdid it. Well,
but it's not a bad. No, I'm glad it was. I'm glad mine shifted, and I'm glad let's put it this way. I'm glad that the cosmically whatever worked out, so that way we don't both have a bank robbery.
Well, talk about that. We were going to launch the same night.
Yeah, we were going to launch. Oh, that would have been horrible if we would have launched,
and I'm like, I'm not
bank robberies.
I'm not competing with Vaughn. And you announced it first, so I said, I'll wait another week.
And I had already moved back like twice.
Right. So I didn't want to
back-to-back successes though. Look at that.
So when the bank robbers robbed the bank, I was like, he has a blonde girl, he has a redhead girl, and he has a black girl. And the only notes I said to Renzo was, make them sexy. This is a comic book.
Nice. That's cool. This is
and if I stop here where it says gas, scroll. Yeah. If you look, the children have Wolf and Batsy action figures from my friend Brian Bow. That's his character. He's got a comic called Wolf and Batsy. So I was nice. Like, I asked him, I said, would it be okay if the kids have Wolf and Batsy toys? So I try to little Easter eggs to my friends, because Brian's been very, very helpful giving me advice, writing advice, and things like that.
I should start doing that with some other people's books. That's cool. It looks like you've got some add-ons too. You've got the coins, you've got the
Yes.
glasses.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and that's the stretch goals. You know, we're real close to unlocking the first card.
That's awesome.
The coins, I had a little hiccup. Nobody was able to get the coins for the first couple of hours. I think it was the first 12 hours. People thought they were getting the coins and they weren't adding in. They weren't being charged. The coins are expensive, guys. You know, so I wanted to give them away, but then when I got the bill, I was like, I can't.
Yeah, that's why I would obsess over the numbers, because I was like, I want to promise so much, and that's the thing. I'm like,
right. I cut out so much. I was gonna make hats. I was gonna make T-shirts. I said, you know what? Well, I'm gonna have all this box of T-shirts and hats, stuff like that, and then I'll be donating to Goodwill if the comic bombs. So so issue number 2, I'll have more. Well, I'll tell you this. I'm exclusively on Fund My Comic. You can only get the Pat Broderick variant cover on Fund My Comic. Luke Stone is a great guy. I'll tell you my crisis problem and why I'll always going to be loyal to Fund My Comic. Friday, the picture of the coin, originally it was a computer mock-up because they didn't send me the picture of the coin. So we did it through a rendering. Is that the correct word? And then they literally sent me the picture of the coin. It's being mailed to me now. So I was like, let's update the actual coin. And then because I changed the campaign, it had to get approved again. Makes sense. You can't just have a campaign approved and then change things. You know what I mean? It's smart business. But I didn't know that. So here's Friday, 4 hours before I'm going to launch. My campaign page is blank. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? So I called Luke. Luke gave me his phone number. He answers. He's having dinner with his family. I could hear the people in the background. I could hear the dishes clinking. And he's like, okay, John, yeah, all right, yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Oh, he's so down to earth.
Right. And he's like, and as we're talking, I'm like, okay, yeah, I feel bad. I guess he'll get it done after. He goes, no, it's done. Because I got my laptop right over here. I was like, really? So I was like, and I was like, that's it. That's it. It's perfect. It's perfect, So the coin, and then the coins, it got messed up. And so the coins only were added 18 hours later. So Alex says, wait, I'm not getting a coin. Yeah, nothing got registered. Nobody got charged. Nothing. I don't know. I'm new at all this, guys. Blame me. So I apologize. So if anybody backed and wants a coin, if you go back in and back the coin, the $5 has the postage and everything mailed in. So I'll just stick the coin in your package with your comic. It's not going to change anything. So so Alex, you're number 1. You definitely didn't get the coin if you did, because it was all messed up. So if notice you didn't get charged or anything like that. So if you want to go back in the coin, when I'm fulfilling everything, I'm going to see 2 different orders. I'll just combine them in one package. Your postage is not going to change.
So if you guys want to get those coins back, maybe now while you're on screen.
Right. Yeah. I'm so sorry about that, guys. It was the only hiccup. I never did this before. I don't, so if you're mad and have a problem, just email me. We'll work something out. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not trying to be a hoodwinker or anything. Hoodwinker. I can't believe I said hoodwinker. Well, at least we know he could fly and detect citizens in danger. Yes. Is John going to shave his head after reaching a stretch goal? Because Vaughn and Rini refused to, and someone has to be bald. All right, if we get to 50,000, I'll shave my beard live. How's that?
Wow. Yeah, they kept advocating. Oh, Fiendish gets.
Well, you got that beautiful
Vaughn has
hair,
to share. Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
this
is part of my brand.
And you're still single, so I'm married and old. I'll shave.
Yeah.
Plus, 4 days later, I'll have my beard back again. I'm a hairy old bastard.
Yeah, they were like, oh yeah, if Rini does well, Vaughn has to shave. I'm like, why am I getting penalized for Rini's? I don't benefit from that. Like, it's nice, good for my friend, but like, I'm not shaving.
Oh, also, I got the patriarch. He's a dad. He likes his beer, so I thought making a pint glass would be a no-brainer. You can't really see it, but it has the laurel wreath on it. So I kind of want to do this going forward.
Let me see it again. Sorry.
Oh, you can see it.
Oh wow, that looks great. Yeah, I'd love to get. I had an idea for a bunch of different merch, and I was like, let's make sure people are fans for me. And but I mean, that sounds good. The pint glass. I know. Some other people have done pint glasses. That's really cool. I don't know if I use pint glasses enough because I always just kind of drink the beer. But I think a pint glass could be really nice.
Yeah,
When I'm at a bar, I always like.
I've been selling a whole bunch of them before the campaign even went live. People like, you got pint glass? Can I get one now? I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I mailed them to Winnipeg. I'm in New York. I went to Winnipeg. That broke. It's funny. One went, I think, to New Jersey and broke. So somebody in the post office definitely mishandled that box. Because if it, I sent a few to California, to Arizona, and Winnipeg, and none of them broke. But the one that went to New Jersey, I'm blaming you, New Jersey people.
Yeah, it sounds like New Jersey. Listen, my state, in case my state doesn't have a bad enough reputation, here is the Ellie. Are you from New Jersey?
Oh, Alex Verb says what I meant to say. I'm mad and I've been hoodwinked. Seriously, Alex, you were the first one. If you have a problem, just email me. I'm a reasonable guy. You know, I want everybody to be happy. Just like Richard C. Meyer said, he had that glad, you know, sad, whatever. Let me know. I wanted to go with a critical blast to fulfill, but you know, unless I hit a certain number, I'll fulfill myself.
Oh, okay. Alex is back the coin. Awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Dude, we gotta all do
I'm on Long Island also. Where are you, Irish wristwatch?
No way. Yeah, dude. Ellie, there's so many people in Long Island. I don't think I'm Billy Tucci's there. The guy who did the book where my first published writing work is, he's Phil Resser, he's there. I mean, so many people are in Long Island. It's crazy. Like, I have a lot of friends that are in
North
that area.
Babylon. My buddy Mike lives in North Babylon, and he just finished up his campaign for a comic book called Marshall Strong. And the Marshall Strong comic book was on a Kickstarter. I wish he had coordinated with me. I'm so angry. But it's set in Heroic Tales universe because he's one of my role players. We've been playing since 3rd grade. So his comic is set in 2005. My comic is the same world set in 2024. So he's got 6 issues, and when he fulfills his obligation to his current publisher, I'm going to, you know, if I do well enough, I'm going to bring his comics over to me and you know, make them as add-ons for fish. So as I was saying, I'm so excited. I forget. I'm loyal to fund my comic. So nice. I think I'm going to stay with him for 3 months. And then after that, I'm going to do Kickstarter. And I have another cover. So I have a Michael T. Gilbert cover that I'm not showing yet. So you could only get that on Kickstarter because I want to have to be unique. And then when that closes down, I'm going to have another cover on Indiegogo by Mike Gustovich. Nice. And I took classic superhero artists because I want this to be like similar to classic superhero comic books. Yeah, if anybody says to me, boy, this comic seems old fashioned, I'm like, yes.
Damn right. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing modern age, but even then, even though we have modern coloring, the colors really pop. And that's one of the things I like is I like when the colors.
Yeah,
I don't like when they're too. I don't know how to describe it.
Do you know David Brink, who does Genuine Comics?
Oh yeah. Oh, is this his color? Because I was literally just thinking of that. Is this his colorist?
Yeah, I asked him if I could work with his colorist, and then I have Oscar Carrena. He's coloring the backup. It looks so good. I put up a picture of Oscar. He did a picture of the patriarch, colored him. I didn't know he could draw, but I guess most colorists could draw too.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You know, I had a couple of setbacks. I hired a couple of people that promised things and then didn't deliver. You know, and then I hired people that were too expensive, and then so I've streamlined it down. I got the Avengers assembled. We got this comic book machine going. So I'm hoping the next issue won't take as long. You know, like I said, this is 80 to 90% done. We just got to do the lettering. You know, I got Bill Williams on lettering, the guy he writes and letters Pantheon. That comic, he did lettering for Bill Willingham. He's just a great guy, and it's funny because he had a comic called Heroic Tales in the 90s. So I messaged him. He came on my channel, and I was like, and he mentioned that he was a letterer. I was like, "You want to be my letterer?" So when anybody goes, "You know, there was a comic called Heroic Tales before," I'm like, "Yeah, the letterer is the guy who did it is my letterer." He was like, "Yeah, take the title with my blessing." So there we go.
Wow, that's so cool, man. That's awesome.
I try to do everything the right way, like. I'm sure you know that some names are taken, and so if it's instrumental to my character, I try to talk to the people and see if it's okay, but I'll change it if need be. Oh,
Yeah.
Master Hobo says Renzo is the perfect artist for classical heroes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I said this to Renzo, and I said this to, if Renzo doesn't want to work with me, then Heroic Tales is done. And so he said he wants to. We got 10 issues planned, and just today I thought of another story, and I messaged my friend Jimmy, "What do you think of the story?" And he goes, "That's the freaking saddest story I've ever heard, and I love it." I could write sad, but I can't write funny. I could be funny live, but it's hard to get that timing down.
Yeah. It's well, you have to make sure your artist gets body language, because I have a few comedic scenes in my comic, but I think they've come across. I think you can do that. I'm trying to think of like favorite funny moments in comics. There's definitely hold on a second. It's actively getting dark out, so I'm going to turn the light on real quick. Okay. But one sec.
I actually wrote.
Hold on.
I wrote a funny scene in issue 2, so we'll see if it works. I wrote my first joke.
Yeah, I had to fix that. But yeah, I think comedy is something that is. Yeah, it depends. It really depends on the situation. I don't think you could force comedy. I don't think you have to say, "Oh, this guy has to be funny."
I'm in Suffolk County near Smithtown, so I'm not too far away from Irish wristwatch.
Nice. Yeah, we should all organize a meetup. That would be really fun.
I would love it. I would love it. Come on down. Where does Renee live?
Nowhere near here.
She lives in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, no. She had to take a plane up. But
who will win in a fight, Galvanite or the Patriarch? Well, the fans. I mean, the fans would win.
Yeah, I would love to do that, but it would probably obviously be some universe stuff, but like cross universe stuff. But it would be like, I'd imagine at this point, Galvanite would probably lose, considering this guy is an established hero and Galvanite sucks. He's great, good character.
When I show the origin, he's going to be stumbling around. Doesn't even understand his powers? You know what I mean? He's going to be trained by somebody else.
Patriarch would win.
At this point, he's got 20 years experience. So at this point, he's a 20th level superhero. You know what I mean? So if Galvanite met him right now, Patriarch could win because he's clever. But if they were both rookies, man, that would be fun. That
would be fun. Or wait till my character is more my character, because I do want him to be a really kick-ass superhero. But as I was writing it, and I was like, oh, I have to skip past all this, and I was like, well, he'd have to do this, 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 and this. How do I skip past? And I was like, I won't, because there's stories with every one of these little things he has to overcome. Let's ride out the origin story. And so I decided the work in progress stuff, I decided to keep going, but he'll be part of a team of more established heroes. So he will, become a full-on hero, but you're really going to, I think by the time you see him in his full costume, you'll be like, yeah, like he earned it.
I like what you're doing. My problem was I don't know how often I could come out with comics.
Well, I came up with that before I was thinking
an origin story for a character that people don't know anything about yet.
Right.
Gravitas. So I'm like, let me introduce. Issue 2 is featuring, it's a split book, so it will have the Patriarch, and I don't want to give away anything about that. But the other half of the book is going to have another superhero called Mary Sue, which is a goof on the concept of the Mary Sue. So her name is literally Mary Sue, S-U. She's a Chinese third-generation immigrant who came to America. And her power is she gets the power that she's perfect. That's the goof. So,
wow.
But there's a lot of like world building into there's a lot of, like I have to introduce a lot of stuff. And I thought it was too much too fast.
Yeah.
So, all right, let me pull back. The Patriarch is really good. So I'm not telling his origin until the 3rd issue. And I think
it's a good way to go about it.
And I think after you read the Mary Sue story, you're going to appreciate the Patriarch's origin just a little bit more, because you'll have enough of the world. So that's the way I want to do it. Self-contained story, but even if you read them out of order, you'll get them. But if you read them in order, there'll be little things like this picture we're looking at right now has Easter eggs in it. I'll spoil it by telling you there's Easter eggs, but I'm not telling you what they are.
Right. I love that kind of storytelling. I think no story is
around issue 10, something from this image, you're gonna go, holy crap, it was obvious all along. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's exciting. I love stuff. I have stuff like that in my issue 1. I have stuff that it's like, and here's the thing, I started writing this and I was like, you know what, I'm this far along, I'm gonna keep going. I talked about this earlier, but like Oh, another Long Island guy, Dan Genovese. Yeah,
where are you, Dan?
yeah. If you want to dox yourself, and up to you. But yeah, I mean, it's really fun stuff. I love incorporating stuff. I have ideas. The thing is, you got to find that balance between like incorporating stuff that's going to be there down the line, and not just doing. I think there's a problem that we have in stories today where they'll just Easter egg bomb and Easter egg bomb, and it's like, okay, is anything actually happening, or are we just setting up stuff that's going to be happening?
Right.
And I think that Easter eggs like that'll lead to something or go, oh my god, oh, it's like it works on one. I think like you got to have a story where something works on this level, but then it can also work on, but it needs to work on every level. It can't
Right.
just
I agree with you.
you know. And I think that's part of the reason why Claremont's run was so good, because you'd have these things that it's like, okay, Jean Grey just came out of the ocean. Okay, she bonded with a cosmic entity, and it's like you realize, or there's all kinds of stuff where you go, oh, so that's what that was, and it's that kind of storytelling that I really like, and you see something that like
Claremont, he had that luxury of the Marvel machine behind him, so he knew his comics were coming out monthly, so he could do the soap opera writing of an A story, a B story, and a C story. I would love to do that, but I realistically don't know when issue number 2 is going to come out yet.
Yeah, well, I wrote an 8-issue story. That's the thing. If I had the knowledge I had now, I would not have written an 8-issue long storyline. Because I was like, yeah, well, it'll be out in like a year. No, that's not how. It's an independent.
Somebody, and I'm not mentioning names because I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings, but they sent me a script and asked me to check on their script, and I said the exact opposite. I'm like, you're taking a story that should be a 6-issue story and making one comic out of it.
Oh yeah,
so you have so many cool ideas. You got to give. I said you're making an Image comic where an Image they brushed past the great storytelling just to show the cool fight
scenes. Yeah.
And he was like, really? I said, yeah, let's. So we stayed up all night brainstorming and stuff. And
I love that. Yeah. That's the thing. I have I have a whole bunch of team members, and I had to settle it with just, okay, we're starting with one guy, and then we're going to get 4 members of the team. And even then that's me holding way back. It's like, okay. And I'm like, I have to focus on one villain. I know. All right, we'll get hints of other, but you got to do what's right for. It's like for the way I do it is I'd be writing the story and I'm like, oh, there's a heist. Oh, well, the details of the heist need someone with this. Oh, I have someone from over there. Or I was going to bring them later. I'll bring them now because it works with the story. But I don't like shoving too many things. Like there were multiple. There was a member of the team that I had in one draft, and I was like, she's just kind of taking lines from the other characters. Why don't I wait to introduce her when she could shine? And so that's what I would do.
That's why I'm doing the flip book, because I don't want to. I think Mary Sue needs her own story.
Yes,
but I also feel Dance with the One that brought you. I people are liking the Patriarch. I'm seeing fan art of the Patriarch already.
Oh, I've seen fan art of your characters. My character doesn't even have a.
So what am I going to do? Like issue number 2, and then how long is it going to take for issue number 3? And because issue number 3 is going to have his origin. So like, oh man,
I already want issue 3. I'm going to be back in this book. I'm really excited for it. This book, and the way you talked, we didn't even talk enough about. I'm sorry, because you're one of those few people. Well, not few people. There's a lot, but you're someone where it's like I could talk to you forever. I'm like, oh, an hour, but an hour, like it flies by.
Right.
We want to ask you, because we've been talking about your product and everything, and that's
sure.
great. But getting back to the interview side, to your favorite comics, because I've been on interviews with you now twice, but what are your favorite comics and who are your favorite writers, your biggest influences as writers?
My favorite writers, let's see. I know this is controversial, and whenever I say this, people get mad, and then I explain myself and like, I think you're right. John Byrne.
Why is that controversial?
Because everybody says Chris Claremont, but John Byrne was a plotter for the X-Men, and then John Byrne left, and he wrote some great Fantastic Four as well as illustrated them.
Yeah, Days of Future Past was his idea.
And was it? I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Yeah, he said, I'll tell you the story later.
Oh, and then he did She-Hulk, he did Namor, he did Alpha Flight, he did the Next Men. I hate to be mean, but Chris Claremont does the X-Men, and then you go, yeah, that's about it. So, Byrne did so many. So John Byrne is one of my favorite comic book writers.
I need to read his stuff outside of Claremont. I haven't done that yet.
Read Next Men. It's one of the best time travel
Is
stories
it?
ever made. Yeah. Next Men, Next. I think it's Dark Horse Comics. It also has the debut of Hellboy, so you'll probably play a pretty penny unless you get the
I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was Hellboy debuted in anything other than Hellboy.
Yeah, he was a backup in one of the issues because John Byrne was actually writing the dialogue for Hellboy, and then I guess Mike Mignola took over after a while. So Mignola and John Byrne were buddies. Yeah, I love the Next Men. It to me, it's one of the few time travel stories done correctly. And yes, I will do a time travel story. Oh, I also promise when you die in Heroic Tales, you're dead. There's no resurrections, unless your name is Phoenix, you don't get to come back from the dead. There's no resurrections. There's no multiverse. There's only one patriarch. There are other dimensions that I have a character designed specifically to explore the cosmic, universality of my world. But there's only one patriarch because in each universe, the laws of physics are slightly different. So you can't have all those coincidences, all those events leading up to Vaughn Coleman. So Vaughn Coleman, you are unique in all of my multiverses.
Gotcha. That's
so
cool.
I hate that. And the patriarch ages, and that's another thing. I will jump back and forth in time, and I'm gonna put like the time in the comics, so you can move them out of order and read it chronologically if you want. I'm very big stickler for continuity. When my buddy Mike made his comic, I just got so mad because I'm like, I didn't read your script. I don't know if I can endorse this as in my universe. He changed one thing that drives me nuts, the name of a character. That I'm like, it has to be this because he has a weakness that is this, so he changed it. Why is my computer, it's warning me of updates? God. So we need to fix that when I bring it over into my, change his name back to the way it's supposed to be.
So his stuff is in your universe?
Yeah, because I'm the game master and he's one of the players. Marshall Strong is his character. He's the Captain America, Nick Fury of this world.
So okay, that's cool. So you worked it out. You're publishing him. This is Mike.
No, he's being published by Dan Sen, who does Argo Comics. Dan Sen's been doing it for like 22 years. I didn't know he was I knew he was working on it, and I was hoping that when it was ready to go, it would be a natural since it's in the same universe. But he just went and did it, and it's good. It's a good comic. I read the first issue. The campaign just closed. But he, Dan is his publisher. When it's done, when he fulfills his obligation, I'll try to, if I do well enough. I'm being arrogant, thinking I'm going to be around. If I do well enough, I'd like to fold his comic under my umbrella and publish it. I mean, I would. My friend Jimmy is chomping at the bit to write stories too. So I would love to do more than one comic. But
yeah.
We'll start small, one, like the song says, put one foot in front of the other.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to obviously expand mine, but it's a matter of getting it out there. And this book looks great. It sounds great. So you said Walt Simonson is one of yours. So you said,
oh, Walt Simonson is one of my favorite writers. That Thor run that he wrote and drew. Oh my God. So the Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Terry Austin, X-Men, that's comic book 101. You and I have talked about that.
Yes, you said. Would you put Frank Miller's up there? Frank Miller's Daredevil.
Frank Miller's Daredevil. Frank Miller's Daredevil is this like if my friend Debbie used to. She worked at a I can't remember the name of the store, but it was like a punk rock store. And she'd say at least once a week, somebody would come in and be like, I want to be punk rock. And she just got like a package of these are the records, Dead Kennedys, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? This is the punk rock 101 package. So you want to get into comic books and you don't know comics? Great. Comics are a great hobby. Get Chris Claremont's X-Men. Get John Byrne's Fantastic Four. Get Walt Simonson's Thor. Get Frank Miller's Daredevil. Get Paul Levitz's and Keith Gifford's Legion of Superheroes. That's something you didn't read yet.
No.
Get Marv Wolfman, George Perez, New Teen Titans. Get
I got to finish
Avengers
that run.
from 150 to 200. Oh my God, Avengers 150 to 200. That's a bunch of different creative teams, but that is firing on all cylinders. These are some great comics, and you know what else? Get if you're into westerns, get the Jonah Hex series.
Which one?
The Jonah Hex series is it's so good.
Which run though? I hear Palmiotti and Justin Gray.
Jimmy Palmiotti one is awesome. It's awesome because it's more like modern storytelling, so there's like a little bit more sex and violence. But even the one from the 70s, and I know Marcus is here. He'll fool me. The name of the writer is blanking out on me, but he wrote some great. It's driving me nuts that I can't remember his name. Oh, Marcus is Chaikin's American Flag. Chaikin's American Flag started out so good. That's a good one too. Yeah, Marcus. What was the name of the writer on it? Mike Fleischer. I forget his first name, but Fleischer on the 70s Jonah Hexes.
Gotcha.
It's amazing that at the same time Wonder Woman is fighting cartoon elephants and hokey Silver Age stuff, and Superman's like, my costume turned blue. We need to go to another planet. And then Jonah Hex is like fighting like human traffickers, and it's so good. It's so different. Yeah, and I will say. I'm looking over here, but it's Michael Fleischer. Thank you. I will say, like creepy and eerie. If you could get those Warren magazines reprints, I'm reading them. Oh my god! If you want something completely different than superheroes and see master draftsmen at the top of their craft, that is some great. You could get them collected now. I think Fantagraphics or Dark Horse is collecting them, and then I'll say I'm blanking out. There's another one that I just had that on the tip of my tongue, but just some good stuff. And Jim Starlin's Warlock. Oh my god, I'm doing like a semi-regular show with Kelsey Shannon where we're talking about Jim Starlin's Warlock. It's everything it's the Marvel Universe movies, but it came out in 1972. Like Jim Starlin, if they don't back up a dump truck full of cash and just bury this guy in cash, because everything from the MCU comes from those comics. So good.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's he's doing creator owned more now. Starlin is good. Starlin's really. I mean, I got to read more of his stuff. I've read his Batman. I like his Batman.
Yeah, he did that KG Beast stories.
I haven't read that yet, but obviously when he killed off Jason.
Yeah, he did the Death in the Family. I wasn't going to bring that up because that's not my favorite story.
Really? I like it. I don't think it's perfect. His early Jason Todd stuff, I think, was pretty good. Is Kelsey going to do some covers for you in the future? I hope so.
I asked him, and he said he's busy right now. And I said, well, that's good because I'm not ready for a cover right now. And he smiled. So
yeah, I'd love to get him.
I would love a Kelsey. I would love a whole Kelsey comic. I've asked a lot of people. So many people were so helpful. Some people I just couldn't afford. I would love to do it. They were really helpful, but who am I? So I'm not going to give names or rates or anything like that. But I have big plans, and it all depends on if people back my book, because this is going to sound weird, but I have a full-time job. So the comic book, I want it to pay for itself. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I'm not a professional comic book guy. So
yeah.
I'm a construction worker. My job pays for my mortgage, my house, my food, my car insurance. And I took spending money and made this comic. If this comic does well,
it's going to fund the next one.
Yeah, I'll have a Mike Allred comic cover. I'll have Kelsey Shannon covers, because these guys are top craftsmen, and you got to pay top craftsmen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Michael T. Gilbert, I had him on my channel. We talked, and he just said, "I like you. I'm going to give you a reduced rate." So there's a little trick. Start a channel, talk for 3 years, be nice to classic people, and they'll give you breaks.
Yeah, exactly. It's really good.
I'm looking at these questions. I love Jim Starlin. The funniest. Somebody asked who is the greatest villain. Hands down, the greatest villain is Dr. Doom.
I need to read more Dr. Doom. I loved him in Secret Wars.
Dr. Doom is ridiculous. And he's ridiculous in the way the comic books are ridiculous. He's this out of time, like he's in a country that's like from the 1890s. You know what I mean? Like when you cross into Latvia, it doesn't fit. And he wears this suit of armor. He's the best magician. He's the second best magician. He's the second best scientist. And he's pure ego. if he is in the Marvel movies and the actor who's playing him is not overacting and hamming it up, then they're not doing it right. I love Doctor Doom. Dan Genovese, you like me? I like you too.
Yeah, Dan Genovese is a good dude. He's one of those guys. We had a Friendsgiving at my house. He was there. Reading was there. It was really cool. Probably gonna do another one next year, but this is great. Lex Luthor.
I love Lex Luthor. I love the concept of a guy with no powers going after the most powerful being in the world. It's such a great contrast.
I don't know if that was intentional, but yeah.
Well, yeah. He originally was a mad scientist. I have my comic is set in Science City, Arizona, and the concept is, I read someplace that I forget who it was. They said that you could take a section of Arizona and put enough solar panels there and power all of America. And I was like, wow, what about a city? So it's a subplot that will come to fruition if I make it. There's an architect who had a dream and he designed Science City, and he designed it on a magic glyph. So Renzo is actually working on a map of Science City, and it's a magic symbol. He's a magician and an architect. So he designed this magic symbol. He's using science. He's using magic, but he's an architect. He's not a billionaire. So he meets Philip Manning. Philip Manning is the Lex Luthor. He's the industrialist. He builds Science City, but he changes things. So it's a magic spell that's wonky, if that makes sense. So there's supposed to be a spire in the middle of the town that focuses the energy, but instead he put a statue of himself. If you scroll down, you actually see that statue, the revelation of the patriarch right there. That's a statue of Philip Manning.
Gotcha.
So the magic is wacky, and now that the magic is wacky, the citizens are getting affected. So now some guy who was a construction worker wakes up and becomes Boss Moxie and is going to rob banks. So I was thinking about, why do so many people go crazy in Gotham City? There must be something wrong with Gotham City.
That's cool. That's a really cool concept.
So there will, in issue 3, we're going to go to Manhattan, and we're going to talk about like a Batman type character in Manhattan who fights criminals too. But the loonies come out in Science City because it's supposed to be the perfect city, but because of Philip Manning, and then so I'm going to have like a bad industrialist, the bad businessman, the bad politician. I'm going to have a bad spiritual leader. I'm going to have a bad general. All the tropes.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. That sounds really good. This is all very exciting. All this stuff. I think that you've got so much cool stuff. Yeah, the mayors and stuff I've thought about, like just building your own city is, because that was something I knew I wanted to do, and I decided that's not enough. I'm going to build my own county because I don't want to have to do any research on real places. That's not the only reason, but I want to build my own lore, my own everything, and so that's why I nuked this whole area of California and just basically had it that it's built up again. I think that's really cool. It sounds to me like you've done so much with this. So I'm excited for it. I know it's going to be a kick-ass story. Did you spend a lot of time writing and rewriting it?
I've been writing this story for 20 years because it's all based on my role-playing games.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I've been focusing it and sandpapering it, and then and now I'm taking some of the best stuff from my role-playing games, cleaning it up, because when you play role-playing games with your buddies, things don't go the way you want it to do. You know what I mean? I can't just take the role-playing sessions and literally translate them, because you want them to go left and they're going right, and then they will critical fumble and whatever, or they beat the bad guy too fast. There's not enough draw. So that's what it is. It's a sandpaper focused world that I have. I'm not even joking. I must have 1,000 pages of notes. I must have 1,200 NPCs written up with stats and sheets and stuff. The only thing is, I didn't use any of my friends' player characters because I didn't feel I had the right to use their characters. So I took NPCs and upped them into, and then all my friends got mad. What do you mean my character's not in your comic book? So issue 2 is going to introduce some of my friends' characters.
That's cool. I have friends come up with stuff because I'd always be brainstorming with friends, and I'd be like, "Yo, is it cool?" And they'd be, "Yeah, it's cool." Because they move on to other jobs that make money, and they're like, "Yeah, you do the creative stuff."
That's right. it's funny because I was talking to my friend Jimmy. Jimmy and I have been playing this game since third grade. Oh, Trials of Gods and Men asked, what gaming system do you play? Villains and Vigilantes.
Yeah.
Fantasy Games Unlimited, Villains and Vigilantes. Matter of fact, Marcus, if you could put in the chat, Villains, is Marcus a moderator?
He should. If he's not, I'll make him one.
But I have www.villainsvigilantesforum.com is a message board. Does anybody remember message boards? That's how old I am. I've been running that since 2000, and it has all of my notes, all of my adventure stories and things like that about Villains Vigilantes. And more importantly, if you click on the banner, it shows you all my house rules. And like I keep saying, I have a lot of ideas. If my comic does well, I want to make my own superhero game, and I'll call it Heroic Tales role playing game. And I'll revise all my characters into Heroic Tales and make a module and things like that. Talk to Dennis Turner about making up stories and stuff. So I love role playing games. I love board games. I love comic books. I'm the nerdiest person you'll ever meet. And awesome. It's funny because I work at a construction site. All these guys are into motorcycles and sports. And hey, did you see the Rangers game last night? No, I didn't. But I read Phenomenova. You guys want to talk about that?
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting, man. It's tough finding people to talk about comics with in general. And even when you do, they find the comics that I've read. Often people haven't that are around my age. So I'm like, all right, well. I'm like, did you read the latest X-Men? I'm like, no, I hate the latest X-Men.
I quit reading Marvel and DC cold turkey in 2015.
Really? Is that long ago? Wow.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny because it seemed like yesterday, and it was really difficult decision because I've got almost every Marvel comic from Fantastic Four 1 going forward, I'm missing like the first Iron Man. I'm missing the Amazing Fantasy 15 and what I'm missing something else. But those are like the only comics that are the Hulk one. But other than that, I got almost everything by Marvel. Wow. And those comics are too expensive for me to get. So, but I love Marvel. And then one day I was just like, why am I spending so much money on something I don't like? I was complaining. And then I started noticing that I was putting off reading them because I was reading other stuff. So they would just get back issues, piles and piles. And I'm like, why am I spending so much? So I just stopped cold turkey. But I still, I had a pull list. I told the comic book store I didn't want to screw him. So I bought out the rest of my pull list. And then I just stopped.
Gotcha.
And it's funny because 2016 is when things went crazy from what I've seen. So I stopped just
I think it started earlier. Like when I was first getting into comics, I noticed a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah. Dan Genevieve says he stopped in 2018. It was difficult because I was an addict. Yeah. It wasn't fun anymore. And I love comic books. And it's funny because if everybody's familiar with diversity in comics, my boy Zach, Comics Matter, whatever he calls himself. If you notice, way back in the beginning, he was talking about an electrician who worked for Marvel Comics. That was me.
Yeah. Oh.
That was me. I was working for Marvel Comics. I was, and I was listening to, like, I was running wire, and they were having a meeting of all the editors. The editors were getting the lore wrong. They were talking about, they're like, yeah, the Inhumans debuted in Avengers, and I'm on a ladder going, no, he didn't. It's Avengers is debuted.
I didn't know you worked for Marvel as an electrician.
Well, I worked for the building. And Marvel existed in that building, so anybody in that building needed electrical work. We were contracted to work for. So I would go, I'd go to this company, go to Marvel. So it's not like I hung out in Marvel all the time, but whenever they needed electrical work, they were always like, "Oh, we're sending John." And it was miserable. It was dreary. It was dark. It was musty. The lights were flickering. They were going broke back then. So I was telling all this stuff to your boy Zach. So whenever people are like, oh, you're new to Comicsgate, I'm like, dude, I was in Comicsgate before John Malin. I was in Comicsgate before EVS. To me, the first person, I'm sure somebody was before your boy Zach, but
yeah, it was
I think by the third video of Zach, I was one of his insiders, and I if I was smart enough, I would have got I still have my ID card that from all. So I'm waiting for somebody to be like, you're just a tourist. I'm like, dude. I was in Comicsgate before before John Malin, before EBS. You know.
Wow, that's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, that was it. See, yeah,
Oh,
I've been.
Homo, I guess you heard this. It's funny because when I told that story to Brian Bow, he's like, I remember that. So if you go to the first 6 months of he'll talk about a Marvel electrician. That was me.
Wow,
See, I'm wearing an electrical shirt right now.
that's awesome.
I don't want to dox myself. I'm wearing a work shirt.
Well, you start a book club with some other YouTubers and all agree to read the same comic. Yeah, I've wanted to do that for a while. I've been putting it off. I'm gonna make that more. I've been saying that. I've been saying this for a year though, so I'm really gonna. I'm even writing another post-it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we're gonna go through Frank Miller's Daredevil run. I have a bunch of ideas for comics to go through.
I do a semi-regular show with Kelsey Shannon. We call it Two Beards, One Comic. And he's actually going to make a thumbnail for it and everything because I love Kelsey. He's such a good guy. But he didn't read Jim Starlin's Warlock, so he read it fresh. And then we're talking about, I'm an amateur talking about it. He's a professional, one of the best comic book artists, and it's just so good. So if you go to my channel, which is John Longbox, and look up live chats, you'll see Two Beards, One Comic. It's exactly what this is. So we're probably gonna do another session one of these days, and then we're gonna do Secret Wars.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah, that's dope.
Could you put that comment back, Garfield's
Bizarre? Yeah, exactly.
You guys, nobody wants to hear two old guys talk about comics. He's goofing on. He knows exactly. Because I said, guys, let's stop with the drama. And I was told nobody wants to see two old guys talking about comics. Well,
objectively wrong.
We had like 128 people watching us talk about comics. So
it's instant gratification versus long-term rewards. People will come back to that.
You're in this sphere and you don't want to hear two enthusiastic guys talking about comics, I don't know why you're here. You know what I mean? That it's about comics.
No, yeah, exactly. 100%.
Once it becomes about ego in the person, I think we're losing track. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's not even about Vaughn. It's about Phenomenova. It's about Heroic Tales. It's about Fiendish. Yeah. I was joking. I was talking to Rini, and I said, "Yeah, Fiendish is wonderful. Rini's okay."
Exactly. Yeah. I gotta really like pull
that's the hobo one. My wife made this appetizer plate because she knew I'm going to be talking. I'm like in promotion mode. And last night I forgot to eat dinner. I wake up with a headache.
Yeah,
so my wife is wonderful.
I'm gonna read a comic. I mean, I'm gonna try. I've been saying this for a year. Everyone hold me to the standard. Be like, "Where's Comic Strip Club?" That's the name of the show we're gonna do.
Just Comic Strip Club.
So I hold me to the standard. I am going to do it. This show. I need to find a time where like Rini's good, but I need to make sure I'm good. And we're going to go through all of Frank Miller's Daredevil on my channel. But but for now, we're going to create the next generation of stories. And I think this is a great start. Let's go ahead and refresh. Apparently, you've got a backer, at least one new one.
Oh, did we? Oh, yes. Yeah. Thank you. Somebody backed because it was at 2655. Anybody who has a campaign, we memorize the numbers. Don't let them tell you otherwise, So, wow. Thank you for whoever. Somebody said that they backed.
Yeah, it was Dan, and then Alex got a coin. So thank you. I got to think of a name for the Vaughn something. I'll come up with something. Yeah. Invite Jungle. Yeah. I'm gonna start doing Comic Strip Club. I'm so behind on stuff I gotta read. I gotta get better time management.
Comic Book Club.
Yeah.
On Wednesdays, I do comic book team up with RJ from the Fourth Age. So it's always RJ and I, and we alternate channels, and then we have another guest. This Wednesday, it's on my channel, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's me and RJ. He has Thomas Valiant and Crom the Destroyer, both active campaigns. And we have Renzo Rodriguez, the artist of both comics. So this is just like...
Yeah, that's a special episode.
Yeah, so I love Renzo. I don't get to talk to him as much, with the time differences. And
yeah.
These stories will outlive us all, as we should cherish and enjoy them. But yes, comic books are what we got. Jazz, we got baseball, we got comic books. Are the three like unarguably American art forms.
Cherish it,
right? And comics are dying. Can you imagine if jazz was dying? I think all the jazz guys would get together and do something. Can you imagine if baseball was dying? Do you think the baseball players would be like arguing with each other? No, they would be at children's hospitals. They'd be doing exhibition stuff. But comic books are dying and everybody's fighting with each other. It's freaking ridiculous. I hate it. Comic books are dying. And
we want to save it. Yeah. My generation.
Vaughn, you are the youngest comic book creator I know. Anybody
I'm the youngest one I know. Noah McTudis is younger than me.
Okay.
Otherwise,
all right, I stand corrected. Or I sit corrected. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not many. And it's for a reason. My generation is not interested. And it's because why would they be?
Right. Why would they be? They're garbage. Mainstream comics are garbage. And then you come over to our sphere and it's everybody arguing with everybody.
Arguing with each other. I wouldn't. Yeah. It's not. Yeah. The fun is being sucked away in real time. And it's a shame. It's a damn shame.
It's a damn shame. So whoever was in here first asked
Jazzgate.
Who was the Jazzgate? Can you imagine? Baseball Gate. Like who should I follow? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Whoever's making comics. That's it's about the comics.
TikTok brain does not help. True. I advertise on TikTok. I get like a few views, but barely any of them. I'd be surprised if any of them come over and back because they're just stuck in TikTok. They don't really go outside of it. I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not a TikToker. I'm a guy who makes comics and posts on TikTok, but I'm not like in that space.
Yeah, I consider Twitter to be a supplementary of my YouTube channel. You know, I consider I'm a YouTube guy, but I use Twitter as a branch of my YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Well, this has been so.
Vaughn Coleman and John are not garbage. That's good.
Thank you. I have aspired to be not garbage. So
every day that I'm not garbage is a good day.
Yeah, I'm right. So I'm gonna make comic strip club a thing. Really been putting it off too long. And I definitely want to do Frank Miller's Ronin. I want to do a lot of stuff. We're gonna go through that on my show. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna make that a point. Next month, I'm gonna try and launch that.
That's
as many people coming on the show as possible. Full panel, one trade paperback. That would be cool.
That's a really good idea, OG.
Yeah, student of God. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I could keep going forever.
Yeah, last comment. Read this last comment. Manga's taken over with better stories, a discipline. The manga authors are hard workers, and the hard work yes. I got nothing against manga. Manga deserves to win because they're putting out phenomenal comics. I've got 55 nieces and nephews. They all read manga. They don't read American comics. So what do I got? So what do I do? Fight with other Cole? You're a jerk. That's not going to get my nieces and nephews reading comics.
No, it's really
it's making good comics. Mike Barron said, "Write the good stories, and people will come back." So yeah, that's it. So that's my
marketing them too.
Back my comic, so so I could make issue number 2 and write good stories, and the fans will come. Born Again, excellent there.
Speaking of Born Again, we're gonna go through Frank's whole run. We're gonna start with The Man Without Fear. I keep talking about it. I'm gonna do it. Everyone in the chat, I want you to hold me to the standard if I get distracted because I've been talking about it for a year, probably over a year. I gotta just do it. But thank you so much for coming on, John. It's always a pleasure talking to you. This will not be the last time we'll be doing shows together. I guarantee that. We got to talk comics more. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. John, thank you for coming on. We had a big turnout. We got 17 people in the chat right now. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I passed 800 subscribers, so I am due for a subscriber special. There we go. And love these streams. Thank you, man.
That's fun.
I'm going to get back to work on a video essay I have to do. I have some other tests. I'm hoping to have this 2-hour Final Fantasy VII video essay done hopefully soon. And I'm hoping to I might do a gaming stream tonight. Maybe I'll do my subscriber special tonight. We'll see. But I got some work to do. Back to creating. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as we head out, obviously make sure to check out John's book. If you haven't, check out his channel.
John's Longbox on YouTube. Check that out too. I try to do daily content, but because I had this launch, I've been kind of lack this week. But I try to do a comic book every day, talk about a comic book for my collection.
Yeah, I'm trying. I've been doing shorts. I should do that, talk about a specific comic every day.
Yeah, I try to keep it like a less than 10-minute video about a specific. This is the next one. John Byrne's first comic, Doomsday +1. From this is my next video.
Oh, nice.
I might do it. I was gonna do it yesterday, but I'm doing promotion, so yeah, I gotta promote my comic. But
promotion is a lot. I think I gotta slow down on certain things. I mean, keep doing the shows, but focus on the work more and creating the next thing. I think just sharing my book it's good, but now it's like, okay, a lot of people know. Now let's get content, like talking about comics, so that way, well, people they're listening about Frank Miller, then they hear about, so I think that's good. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to back John's book and check out my comic,
Always
Phenomenova. Same, likewise. I'm going to play the trailer for my comic as we head out, and thank you guys so much. Take care.
Thank you, everybody. It was a blast.
When the whole world was dragged into World War III, brave men like my father fought on the front lines. And they weren't alone. That was 20 years ago. Now it's up to us to carry on their legacy. And every so often, the earth from which we come gives way for something new, something greater to be born. And with them, even greater threats to face. Bring it on! Phenomenova. For you, Dad. For you.